guys? My name is Buzz, and here is a long awaited movie review that I was supposed to have done a long time ago, or towards the end of February. Today's movie review will be The Invisible Man, and that is directed by Lee Wallen. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing her name correctly. My apologies. But The Invisible Man is a 2020 science horror fiction released near the end of February, and it's a contemporary adaptation of the novel by H.G. Wells and a reboot of the classic 1930s Invisible Man. This movie stars, most notably, Elizabeth Moss from The Handmaid's Tales and Us, as well as Storm Reed, Harriet Dyer, Michael Dorman, Oliver Jackson Conan, and Adelis Hodge. The main premise is it follows a woman who, after the apparent suicide of her abusive and wealthy boyfriend, believes she's being stalked by him. She ultimately deduces that he has acquired the ability to become invisible. Boy, that is loud. Let me turn down the sound. I have some Call of Duty gameplay in the background. It's very loud. Some things I liked about this movie. I like that this is actually a thrilling take, a more science fiction horror thriller take on the Invisible Man trilogy, or Invisible Man story, as opposed to it being a more actiony, sci-fi-ish type fantasy, where it's more or less relying on the cool effects, costume design. It isn't more basically focused on the Invisible Man himself. You don't really see the Invisible Man till about midway through the movie. Not midway through the movie, but it's mainly more or less focused on our main character, who's played by Elizabeth Moss. It isn't really flashy with its story. It isn't really all over the place. It's very straightforward and to the point. It isn't very hard to grasp while watching. It's, again, more straight to the point. Doesn't leave you waiting, doesn't leave you confused, doesn't leave you wanting more. Another thing I really liked from this, if you've seen The Handmaid's Tale, if you've seen The Kitchen in 2019, near I think October in 2019, or if you've seen Us, you've seen Elizabeth Moss acting. In this movie, she actually carries her character's performance really well. She carries it with a lot of conviction. You really do believe that this is a person's descent into madness, trying to prove she's being stalked. As well, the special effects are really good in this as well. It's very cool at times. Again, it's not really flashy on the whole Invisible Man. It's mainly more or less like he's somewhat of not like a side character, but it doesn't really hone in on the Invisible Man that much. From the effects that you do see in the movie, it's enough to capture your eye, enough to keep you pretty satisfied. Like I said, it's not really mainly focused on the Invisible Man, which I'll actually get into after, which I'll actually explain more later on as I get to finishing up my rating for this. Another thing I liked as well is the twist in the film. It isn't really, it's worth watching, and it pays off very well. A lot of the scenes in this are pretty spontaneous and not random and misplaced, but very well placed, and do leave a lot there, and do leave a lot wanting more. Because again, I'll get into towards the end, and they don't focus too much on the Invisible Man, even though it is in the title of the film. It isn't mainly morally focused on the Invisible Man. He plays a part of the story, or he plays a big factor into the movie. But it's mainly about a woman's descent into madness, trying to prove her boyfriend has made himself invisible and stalking her. Now, while watching this, and if you've seen the trailers for this, I actually, or for me, that is, I honestly assumed and took away from this movie that it would more or less, I guess, be a symbolism, or not a symbolism, but a metaphor for, I guess, I would say domestic abuse, with the whole idea of that, basically no matter where you go, you can never run away from, or you'll always be paranoid or still feel a sense of not safety or comfort, even though you get away from a very dangerous situation. That's what I took away from the film, or that's what I was taking away from the trailers before going into the film. And I went into this film not with low expectations, but with like I've already seen everything in the trailer. So I mean, I hope the trailer isn't basically giving everything away. And honestly, while watching this, it actually doesn't. It actually makes not a 360, a 180 turn, and it's like, hey, what you think this movie is not what it really is. The acting as well from Atticus Hodge, who basically plays the abusive boyfriend, is very convincing. He does give you a very feel of a sociopath, psychopath person with just unrelentless, a very charismatic one upon a very charismatic evil character that is. What I disliked about this film, there wasn't anything I disliked. I mean, the ending. For me, I personally didn't like the ending. I won't spoil it a bit, but it didn't sit well with me. Again, we'll see what they do later on with this franchise from Universal. But that's the only thing I disliked was the ending. This actually ties into Universal's revival of the Dark Universe, which is Universal's classic monster movies such as Frankenstein, Wolfman, The Invisible Man, and Dracula. They've attempted to do this in 2017 with, I think, Tom Cruise's The Mummy. Ooh, I'm getting shot at. And I actually want to see how this goes. Again, it also ties in with the end of the movie as well. So this will be something to look at and keep out in mind when watching the movie, is to keep in mind, or keep in the back of your mind, the Dark Universe. As you're watching this now, it is March 17th, so there's also a quarantine, or not a quarantine effect, but with the coronavirus going on, most gatherings here in the U.S. have been limited to less than 50 people, and Universal actually just released, or this Friday will be releasing on the 20th, they will be releasing The Invisible Man for home video and video on demand, and you can buy it digitally. I actually would recommend, honestly, watching this. It's a very good film. I wouldn't... my personal score rating for this was a 3.65 out of, or 3.6 out of 5. I mean, there's a few bits where they could have done a little bit better. I mean, again, the ending was just a bit, Again, it just didn't sit well for me personally. The acting from all the actors in this is really good. Again, it is Elizabeth Moss carries this film. If you've seen her in *Handmaid's Tale*, she pretty much can carry that film. Other than that, it's a good chance for you to talk about. This is a good movie to talk with your friends over about any movie theories that you have. There's also some more. Actually, might have to go back and look. Some endings explained that I have to watch just because I wasn't sure. One that could also wrap up with the way this movie ended, but I'm actually excited to see what Universal does with their Dark Universe and how they handle that. So that will be my movie review for The Invisible Man. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as I'll also be uploading a movie review for The Way Back and The Hunt, which I recently saw before they put Texas in a lockdown, and that was actually you'll see my review on that movie. It's a pretty good movie. I would also recommend to go check out, as well as also Universal's making that movie available as well. So this Friday, so be sure to check that out if you can. My name's Buzz, and thank you for coming to my movie review for The Invisible Man, and I'll be sure to have The Way Back uploaded next, and then The Hunt. So yeah. Hope you guys are having a good day. Stay safe. Much love. Take care. Peace.